Now we're going to jump straight to the game. So we're going to have in Group B, we have the Indigos and the Whites, who will in fact be facing off together, and then we also have the Reds, which will be played in the second game against one of these two fine people. So we have Daniel representing the Indigos today, but first I'm going to introduce Terry's White Lantern team, because we have one of the few exceptions to everything should be coming from the War of the Light set in Deadman. So we have Deadman from the Brightest Day start. So not really dead man. He's more of a live man there. That was the joke that we called him.
True. At the time
because he wasn't dead. He was non-dead dead man. And then we have the White Lantern Kyle. We have the full 245 point Corona.
Ugh, I hate that little gnome. Such a pain in the butt.
And then we also have the SR Swamp Thing. 150 points.
Excellent.
Yes. And then we're off to Daniel's team, where we have, I believe, 4 of the Indigo Tribe recruits. Yes.
That's a lot of bats.
That's a lot of bats. But as Drax says, bats aren't scary. They're little rodents. We also have Munk. Then we have John Stewart in his Indigo colors. And his little stick actually has sniper rifle. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. But yes. It makes me laugh every time I see it. And then, of course, we have the quintessential Indigo figure, Sinestro. Because why let Hal Jordan be in every corpse? And last one we have the month 5 prize, Indigo 1. Or around here, Indigo... So we are going to be rolling off momentarily. Okay. And with me today being the commentator for all 3 games is going to be Silent Pat.
Hi.
Hello again.
Yeah, so you'll be hearing my voice quite a bit, so I will let Vince talk quite a bit more through this game. And I apologize for the visual. The visual is coming through my SLR camera. Not really designed for this kind of thing. So every now and then you will have that. It'll try to zoom into the different things. We'll get the camera back once we get Alex back from his vacation.
We're not going to turn that off? The autofocus?
The autofocus, there is... We can try to turn that off, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay. So we have the Indigos who have 1 initiative. I should mention, of course, that in this grouping, it's the Reds that were voted as the top seed from our player feedbacks.
So the 3 seeds again?
Were green,
Yeah.
which you have not played, and you should be playing tomorrow.
Yep.
We have the yellows, which you weren't able to play because of a very interesting story, and were played by Terry. And then there are the Reds, who I will be taking a hold of a little bit.
Excellent.
So, sidestepping bats carrying. Did you get a chance to play Monk very much during the War of Light?
I don't think I played him at all, actually. I got to play some of the recruits. I thought the Indigo recruits were excellent for their 45 points. I thought the sculpt was kind of annoying because it's so big, it kind of falls a bit over. But otherwise, I thought that... No, I didn't actually get to use Monk. Did you use Monk?
I used them once because I had one pull where they were terrible.
Okay.
It was there weren't enough boosters for that particular event.
Right.
So there was a roll-off to see which 1 out of 5 people weren't going to get 2 boosters of War of Light, which of course I, air quotes, won.
Oh, lovely.
And so yeah, in order to play anything, I required to use everything in my War of Light booster, and it was bad. But he performed fairly well.
Good. He's picking the once a turn power. And oh, that's interesting. So Terry is using the Impossible Man dial on his sideboard.
Die.
The Resurrection Man die. I've just been corrected. I'm sure, isn't it the same one? I think it's the same one. Anyway, on his sideboard, just to remind himself of which power he actually has. You can probably see it there at the bottom of your screen. So if I can see the power correctly. Hey Terry, can you move it up just a tiny bit, just so I can see the die a bit better? Excellent. So it looks like it's close combat reflexes. No? Huh? Telekinesis.
TK.
Telekinesis. I'm not even the colorblind one in the group. It does also help that you think I can hear. Oh yeah, that dice is gonna be really annoying for colorblind people.
For sorry?
Colorblind people?
Yes.
This whole game, actually.
Yeah, no, it's difficult.
So how do you feel about the rings? Like trying to pick up the rings? Do you think it's worth the effort?
I like to put it out there for an option. Whether or not you need it or not is something else. If your opponent is Super Turtle, then yeah, I'm gonna pick up the ring because it doesn't matter how many turns I got. If your opponent is at least playing it honest, where they're actually coming to you and putting pressure on you, then the ring is not something you necessarily have time for. If you have a dedicated flyer and a designated fare or taxi, that's a lot easier to figure out because the flyer, you're going to rest them and then you're going to move them again next turn. So technically the grounded character doesn't have anything to do anyway, so why not try for the ring?
Oh, got Corona getting into the middle there. He's incredibly powerful for a little shrimp. Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of white lanterns in this set.
Nope.
There were the Warriors of Quard, I believe. Like other than what we see on the table.
Yeah, the Weaponers.
The Weaponers, yeah.
And Entity.
And Entity, yeah. So.
And just as a refresher, in this tournament, it was my stipulation, but no one seemed to have an issue with it. They were okay with it. Was that we would not allow starting possession. That if you wanted to use an entity, that's fine. And when they died, you'd be able to possess, but you weren't able to start off as possessing.
All right.
So while we have a second pet, while our players are just figuring out the next move, what are your thoughts on this grouping?
To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of either the whites or the indigo compared to most of the other lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
I think whites, just because of the lack of options. I mean, I think some of the pieces are very powerful. Like Corona is definitely a very powerful piece. Same when you think of Kyle is very versatile, but compared to the incredible choices you have with either the red or the Sinestro Corp or the green in particular, it's not quite up there.
With 6 being rolled?
He took some damage. Missed by one.
Missed by one. Against missed by one. Which I am contractually obligated to mention every broadcast that Terry's name in Judge Jeff's phone is missed by one. Everyone else is clicks and then their first name, except for Terry, who is in fact missed by one.
That's hilarious. I'm sorry, Terry. I mean, missed by one.
Oh, missed by one. Not your phone.
Yeah, I think both of these teams, the Indigo and the Whites, they didn't have a lot of compelling choices for their figures. Doesn't mean they're not good, and doesn't mean that they can't have good results. It's just there wasn't those couple figures that you say, this is what it is. Like Corona is a phaser for his whole dial, which is a good power.
Yeah.
But
No movement.
for 245 points, the no movement attack can be a problem.
No, it's the same with the Sinestro, the Indigo Sinestro. I find he's probably the least strong of the Sinestro options that we've had recently. Anyway,
I actually pulled him 3 times in sealed, and I sat him every time.
I don't doubt it. He's just for his points. Unless you have someone to help him out, he doesn't really. I mean, he doesn't move an attack, and so and even his defensive powers aren't very good. So,
Would you say that would be a knock against him?
yes, that he doesn't have defensive powers.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Indigos, knock.
Yes, yes.
I made a knock joke.
It was a knock joke. I will be right back.
So yeah, it should be interesting to see. So I am going to take over with my the voice for a little bit, as my partner is just stepping away momentarily. So one of the things I'm watching out for this game is the Indigos. They're one of the teams that you really have to pay attention to positioning and their healing traits. So Justin might be able to put it up for you in post for us, but I'm just going to read it for you really quick right now. So most of them have some version of this power somewhere on their dial. So for the Indigo Tribe recruits, they have it on their first click. It's when a non-adjacent friendly character within 6 squares takes 3 or more damage. After actions resolve, if that character hasn't been healed this turn, you may place an Indigo Tribe recruit adjacent to the character and heal that character 1 damage. That's a lot of power that I've seen that can come up and is never activated. But it just that's not what the players seem to be
dead?
thinking.
He's dead, Daniel? He's dead? Oh, KO'd, sorry. Yeah.
No one going to heal there. One of the other things to note is that the flying recruits who have sidestep is that they can, when the option is there, they can come off the building, go up a building, and close combat expert. And when you're dealing with 10-2 stats, that's an 11 attack for 3. That's 10 attack for 4. Those aren't small hits.
No, they aren't.
Granted, they are close combat reflexes with the 16, so that's easy to shoot.
Yeah. No, they're very easy to shoot.
Given the
but,
options.
They're great close combat figures, I find. For 45 points, I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that.
And pretty much counter to everything we've said is the John Stewart figure on the Indigo, which is the running shot pulse waiver.
Yeah. With some shape change as well to throw in.
Yep.
He's a strong figure. Do you prefer him or do you prefer the black version? Black Lantern version.
I heard in the movie he's going to be played by a girl. No.
Really?
No. Actually, you know what? I don't like either of those Johns. Of the John Stewarts that we did get, I really do like the green one that we got as a participation prize.
So powerful.
I haven't used them as the full value because if I'm going to do that, I'm going to be playing different Green Lanterns or multiple Green Lanterns. But for the 95 points, I've had him run sidekick for the always awesome, all the time great Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems 95 points. You really have to make sure that no one's attacking him.
Yeah.
But yeah. Where you have the rest of your team tying up, which is typically what my teams are.
Yeah.
They like to get in your face. Having him being in the background shooting people is pretty effective.
I'm going to go turn off that auto focus and see if it helps out.
You mean that thing that I suggested right off the get-go?
Yeah. Okay. Look, I think we've established that I'm not the most intelligent person in this group, so let's just
It's
go
weird
with that.
because I usually only have the joke about what's the rule with Richie, but Richie's not here today. I have to make that joke tomorrow.
Did that help at all? Not even a bit.
But it's staying there.
It is staying there, correct? don't know. I thought with the autofocus on, you could bring up the piece a bit, you could see it some more, but no. So they're playing on the Violet map, the Star Sapphire map. How do you feel about this map in particular?
You know what? The reverse of this is the 4 different or 5 different elevation mountain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We constantly selected this map because we didn't want to have to deal with the multiple elevations.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't, it's just that there were figures people wanted to play, and you didn't always have multi-elevation changing issues. Like was it the big green lantern science cell in the space that was the low gravity? Where was the big green lantern symbol?
I believe so.
Where they were transporting Sinestro, that's what it's from?
Yeah.
That one isn't a problem because it's low gravity and everyone has ignore elevation for movement, so it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Except for Richie, who forgot that the inside was the donut, and he thought that he should hide,
Right.
and it didn't work for him at all.
So if Daniel's trying to figure out if he can shoot.
Yeah. But no, a lot of our players end up selecting this one given the option. So I played on it quite a bit, and it's a center elevated position that is easy to be attacked from, and use the terrain to your advantage if possible. So it's a map I really like. I know lots of my opponents didn't, but they only said that after the game. So I believe the results of the game probably tainted them.
Yeah.
Yourself?
I honestly, oddly enough, I played mostly on the other side.
Did you really?
Yeah.
By choice?
The first time by choice because I was like, this is ridiculous, let's do it.
Okay.
And then the other time my opponent would always pick the other side. I have no idea why.
I gotcha. I will say one thing for this side of the map, though. That is a lot of pink.
It is a lot of things.
I was tempted to wear sunglasses the first time I played on it.
Alright. So, a bit of an update on what's been going on. We have a bit of a cluster in the middle. Daniel's been moved his pieces. So the Indigo, if you can't really tell, the Indigo have the red identity rings, and the white have the white.
The white. What?
I know, imagine that. And so they all seem to be coalescing around the center squares, which I believe are blocking terrain. Am I correct?
I want to say no. That's where the battery goes.
Oh, that is where the battery goes. Never mind.
So it
that'd
would
the
be
orange
not.
squares. Yeah. Attack. 6. He's got 18 to stop at reflexes, so will not be hitting.
Yeah, just double checking, and yeah, it is clear terrain. So with all the figures being as they are, my initial thought is with the sidestep from the recruits, plus the ability to be in close combat, that probably helps Indigo in the situation. Of course, when Swamp Thing starts doing his running poison thingy, that's probably not going to be very good. Yeah, it's restore the green, give Swamp Thing a move action. After action resolve, you may place hindering terrain markers in any clear squares he moved through, and he may make a close combat attack targeting one of the characters occupying the hindering terrain. Markers placed by Swamp Thing. These markers aren't removed when he is KO'd.
What are your thoughts on that Swamp Thing versus the one we got in Superman?
I've only faced him twice. And both times the player wanted him to be the focus of his team, and I decided I didn't want to have to deal with him, so I made it a mission to get rid of him early.
Makes sense.
The first time I was able to do it early. Oh, we got an attack going on.
Indigo shooting. That's a massive.
That
miss.
is not, no. Popcorn.
Team. I imagine. 17. It's also a miss on the part of Sinestro. Monk is shooting. And miss as well. Daniel is changing his dice.
Auditing up. Yeah. Yeah, no, the first 2 times I played against this Swamp Thing, the first time I had the opportunity to take him out very quickly, and the second time, just because of the 2 team makeups, I wasn't able to do it, and I had to play it a little more cautiously, where I was chipping away. I believe I had Bullseye on my team at the time, so it was chipping away for 1, chipping away for 1, chipping away for 2, and putting myself in positions where he wouldn't be able to get the free attacks on me, staying in normal hindering terrain. So that was more of a cat and mouse game, which isn't my preference, but I recognize when that's the thing to do. Typically, I build my team so that isn't a tactic I have to use. But in that particular case, it just I didn't have the right tools in the toolbox to play anything else.
So he's trying for sidestep break. Not gonna get
No.
it. His dice obviously not helping. Switching those dice as well.
That seems really mean that he switched out both pair of dice when only one failed. That's a good indication of a player not trusting dice.
John Stewart pushing to shoot Kyle in the face. Oh, there we go.
That'll do better.
For 3. So which one is your favorite Kyle?
Oh,
You got 3. I mean, obviously you got the giant, powerful one from the Green Lanterns, the white one, which is very versatile, and the blue, which is it's all right.
before we had seen the participation prize one, I would have said him because I like the crab mask and it's funny. But after having seen him played, he falls into that he's more powerful than I want him to be. So I think I like the white one because he plays well with other teams. Yourself?
I like putting Kyle on the lower point value and using him on a Green Lantern team just because Kyle's always been my Green Lantern. Oh,
Doubles? 10.
Oh, team PopCon. 11.
11. Went up.
So you know how you have a doctor, the doctor that you started watching.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So Kyle is my Green Lantern when I started getting into Green Lantern.
That was, of course, a Doctor Who reference, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
I didn't mean like a little like medical doctor. Like you don't. Well, I guess we have.
Well,
a doctor.
if you don't have reference point.
Yes, I guess that would have made no sense. Okay. From Doctor Who. So
For the record, I knew what you were talking about. I just want to make sure others would know.
So anyway, I like Kyle. I liked when he was Ion. I like that whole idea. I just wish he wasn't so powerful.
Do you have an irrational fear of kitchen appliances? And opening them as a result of Kyle?
Yeah. Oh my. Was it Major Force? Major Victory? I forget. Major Force.
Yeah.
Awful. We're obviously referring to the trope of the woman in the refrigerator, which we can thank
Gail Simone.
Was it Gail Simone?
Well, apparently that's the Gail
She
Simone's
coined it?
blog of women in appliances or something. Anyway, that's what got her noticed by comics, and that's what got her a break or something.
That's also another 4. Daniel, I believe, needs a whole whack of new dice. Although he did just hit a couple 10s, so. So,
Let's see what the whites can do.
well, I mean, Kyle just took a couple of smokes to the face. Not smokes, he got smoked in the face. And so I think it'll have to be Krona's going to have to pick up the slack. I don't see. I'm not sure what he's going to try. Oh, Kyle's going to try
So
to regen.
Kyle was on his last click, the live click.
Oh, beautiful.
See, that's a good roll, but the issue with regen live clicks is that any result of greater than 1 will give you another chance to do it in another turn unless they double tap you.
Yeah.
Double tapping is a new Heroclix term. And not a new term overall, but it's a term that needs to get used a lot more in Heroclix because with the zombies and the live clicks and lots and lots of effects that you now need to have a follow-up attack.
And then, of course, Double Tap, known from the Zombieland movie.
Yep.
We have a question.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, got a question from our players. One moment, please.
Swamp Thing.
Question about... Oh, go ahead.
So yes, Terry was just inquiring about the usage of the Swamp Thing power that I was just reading to you, called the Restore the Green, where he puts out all the hindering terrain, and just wanted to make sure that he was able to place it on elevated. But the condition is that it just needs to be clear terrain.
Right. And we've got that power that we were talking about earlier, where he moves through them. He's going off. Oh, he's walking all the way around to go back there. Doing a little dance around the lantern battery that isn't there, that no one seems to be walking in for some reason.
Yep. So Terry's just reading the power as well to his opponent. So with any luck, Justin would have tossed up the power for you to look at earlier.
It's a 10. That should land. Oh, do you need popcorn?
Here's a question for you, Pat. Looking at the two teams and knowing the figures that were available, or are you surprised by any of the characters who didn't make it onto the teams?
The Women's Report are very powerful. It's nice not to see them.
One of the requirements that I had actually when people were asking about the whites was that I wouldn't mind, because it would be unfair to say flat out you can't use them.
Right.
But I wasn't going to allow him to be a generic.
Right.
That, yeah, technically he is generic, but for the purposes of this and making the videos and having it be watchable and trying to facilitate fun games to both play and watch for our players, I wasn't going to have...
A team of weaponers?
Yeah, five weaponers.
Right. Well,
And-
that one hits for 1 and 2. Is that an energy explosion? Pulse wave.
Yeah, so that was a limiting, but I felt it would have been unfair to white to say flat out don't use him.
Otherwise, I mean,
Actually, Entity, the white entity, called Entity, is one of the few that I ended up playing in Sealed. And my thing was I never played the entities as possessions. I always used them as figures. So I used Black Lantern, I used the Black Hand, I used Entity, and Proselyte just stayed in the booster where he belonged.
is that bad?
No, he's okay. It's just I want to say my pulls were... He was a wave 1 pull, right? I was he?
I believe Crosslight was wave 2. No, wave 1. Yeah, wave 1 to your friend.
Yeah. So I think I pulled a lot of green, including Graph that day.
Yeah.
And if the choice is between Proselyte and Graph, I know which one's getting fielded.
The correct choice, I believe. My graph, one of my graphs has been repurposed. I used a chip to mod, so I have a chip on the graph dial.
You know what would actually be a really fun custom sculpt would be? A Green Lantern Spider-Man, because he's got the web mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
That would feel very Spider-Man-y for Green Lantern. Not required, but we do have a local that does some of the Marvel lanterns. So.
Players thinking about some strategy. They're both looking at it very intensely. I always get very intense about Heroclix, and every now and then I take a step back and go, look at me playing with these little action figures. So much fun, though.
Speaking of this being our last, our first broadcast of the new year after the holidays, did you get any of the Heroclix goodness for the holidays, sir?
Yeah, in a way.
Oh, yes. Sorry. That wasn't a setup for that. But yes, please continue with that reign of reference.
I got a Secret Santa gift from Richie, another of our local players, and it was a box full of Animus, which is...
Have we figured out what the plural of it is? Animus?
Animus, Animi, I'm not sure. Animi?
Animi?
Terry says Animi, and he's got an English degree, so I believe him. I got 9 Animi over the holidays. I don't like Animus at all.
Next year on the 12 Days of Christmas.
And I keep getting them, and people think it's really funny.
It is incredibly funny.
They hide it in my backpack, they hide it everywhere.
Pat has a pencil case that he brings around usually his team with and his dice and his tokens. But he usually leaves it unattended.
Yes.
So we have found ways to fit the animi in there when he's not paying attention.
And I go home, open it up, and like, God damn it, another Animus.
Yeah. We actually considered recruiting Sarah so that we can have them waiting for you on your computer table at home.
Sarah's my fiance. That's evil.
Lovely Sarah, by the way. It's my rule. Anytime I refer to the significant others, girlfriends, fiancés, wives, that they have to be lovely.
All right, so it looks like John Stewart is being brought in. Coming out from his little hidey hole.
I heard he just lost his new partner in Colbert.
Different John Stewart. Friendly characters need support, so we'll be using support. I believe that's the power from Indigo? Yep, that is what it is. Indigo can give friendly characters support. That's pretty cool. It's also going to defend. That's a very clever use of defend there, bringing down the lower number. Ooh, 5. Is he going to pop on that one? Yes, he is. Oh, that's just an action token. Oh. What a
So you
sad
know,
state of affairs.
you will note, looking at the map right now, do you notice where all of the whites are that aren't Corona?
Outside of Pulse Wave range?
Outside of Pulse Wave range. So we will be seeing quite a bit of Pulse Wave from Corona, I would imagine, for the next little while.
This guy slipping away.
Oh, you want me? And third place goes to Gabby. Oh, yeah. Oh, sweet.
And that's the Pokemon winners in our venue.
Shane House. Pascal, Josh, Ryan, Alex, Cole, Scott, and Alex.
So that was a sidestep.
This is actually interesting because I'm going to be playing one of these two members after this game with my Reds, so it's interesting that I get to see what the players are thinking. This isn't the way I set this up. This is just the way it had to be. Even though this is our first broadcast after the holidays, it's still people's schedules are a little tight. So, barely had enough.
9, that should be high enough. And looks like the Team Popcon. Oh, a critical miss.
I think Terry's going to say that was an effective use of the theme team.
Yeah. I love those. Oh, the worst is when you use a Team Popcon and someone critical hits you. Like, oh gee, I'm glad I gave myself an action token and extra damage.
Yep. Actually, because we have Terry as our player today, I should tell you the story. Is a couple times I've played against Terry, and he's had multiple re-roll abilities. And the first one, he'll roll a 5. And I tell him, you shouldn't re-roll that because it's only going to get worse. And he says, yeah, I'm going to re-roll it. And then he rolls a 4. I'm like, don't do it. And then he rolls a 3. I'm like, oh, come on, Terry. You know what this does. And at this point, he's already locked himself in that he's trying. And it does end up being the critical miss.
Of course.
Yeah. Because that's the way that story ends.
Of course it is. Fate is a cruel
The only way to not win global nuclear war is to not play.
Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be an 11 to 19. Roll, 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 roll. And number 6. Do not believe that'll make it. Theme Team PropCon on that little.
Yep. Munk on Corona.
Is that a Corona? No, I thought. Oh, yeah, it's Munk on Corona.
Yep.
That'll hit. That is a 10. That'll be 1 on Corona.
Yeah, technically doing nothing, but the precision strike.
Precision strike, of course. What's the Corona's defensive power?
Should be impervious.
Yeah, impervious. Okay, so
if he's down to impervious.
Is Corona down to impervious, or is he still invincible? Invincible. He's still invincible.
Yeah, so doing the 2 damage, what did the 1?
So getting his team out of that pulse wave range. Probably a good idea.
Which only goes to prove that Corona is in fact the king of the castle. Everyone else has to go down.
They're just scared.
Is not able to live in the ivory tower.
I want to get away from him as well. I mean, that pulse wave is pretty powerful. And, looks like he's still got telekinesis. Yeah.
He's got a telekinesis.
What click number? Corona. Yeah, he's on click 2. So he just got to his 5 natural. I know. Sorry, Eric and I had a shorthand worked out, and I just assume everyone should know it. When we were doing the broadcasting for the Worlds, the Canadian Nationals, we had lots of ways to try and get the information to the commentators without affecting the players, and so we had discovered a lot of hand gestures. And the one for trying to figure out what click number players were on were to rub the side of your number where a sports jersey numbers would be, because that makes sense. And then Alex had an interesting dance for shape change.
Pulse wave again. Looks like it's going to hit the bat. Can't see if he'll hit anything else. I don't think so. Nope. And it's missed anyway. Let's see how he's seen the bat.
That was a 1-3. That was a 4.
That was a 4.
Yep. So that was a 15. That should be enough. Depending on where they're.
He was going to try to single target pulse wave, but it looks like it's no longer an option.
Interesting game.
Who do you think is going to take it this one? Say it quietly so they can't hear you.
I don't know. It's the whites have really big figures.
They do?
Like in theory, if Indigo was doing really well and knocked out everybody who wasn't Corona, I think Corona has enough power to take out the entire team by himself, given average rolls. So, in theory, the dice could be really mean, and Corona could go down in a turn or two. But if I had to check a box of which one I thought had the advantage, I think with Corona being still on top 2 clicks, that's the story.
Yeah, it's difficult. You have to find some way to eliminate that those defensive powers, because he's going to get at you with that pulse wave and that wit. Time? We do not. Oh, did we take time?
No, but I texted at the beginning, so it was.
Indigo's going to try to heal.
One episode of Pokemon.
39.
39?
So we have 18 minutes.
18 minutes. You have 18 minutes remaining, players.
So if that's the case with this many figures on, it looks like it's going to come down to points.
Yeah. Which gives the whites the advantage because they have bigger pieces. Unless they actually is able to take down a couple of the big pieces.
Oh, as of right now, I believe it's 40-0, where it's only the one Indigo group that's been taken out. That's the only casualty.
So that is the only casualty at the moment. Yeah. Oh, for the record, we're playing 50-minute 1 hour game.
I'm sorry?
1 hour game.
Yes. Ish. Sometimes we extended for various stoppages of play and things like that, so it's not 60 minutes start the timer.
It's more like a soccer game.
Yeah, kind of. Which I guess in theory is thematic to what we're going for. No, ideally we would have clear winners, clear losers,
Yeah.
but which is what the Reds will be trying to do.
Which we'll see. We'll see.
Well, the attempt is, and I don't want to give you away the whole flow chart of decision making, but if you're on the board, I want to burn you.
I figured as much. You probably want to use your poison, your penetrating poison.
Yes.
Corona, power action, activate. Finding a target. Oh, no, he cannot activate what he wanted to activate because he cannot find a target.
Why was he trying to activate Pulse Wave?
I am not sure, but he needs a target to do it. He says there's a reason. So there's a method to the madness, this is what we're being told? Usually it's just madness.
Careful, it's slippery. Oh, no, I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
No, I got nothing.
He said he wouldn't be able to do what he wanted to do because he's not playing Tachyon. Yes, correct. You're not playing Tachyon on your White Lantern team.
Kyle's hypersonic.
And it looks like an 8?
Ooh.
What was that, Terry?
4.
It was 4. Can you use the other dice? Couldn't see those very well.
Why do they need
Why? It's being recorded, Terry.
Oh, good. Good. See you next week.
It's also, I find, a bit of a slower game because a lot of the characters that are big don't have any movement attack.
That is true.
So a lot of characters have to take a couple of turns. Your Sinestros, your Coronas.
It's one of the things I actually enjoy mostly about Sealed is that you don't necessarily play what your team would normally be, or you can try to force whatever you pull into your typical tactics, but players who are more consistent in Sealed events are able to adapt to what the team's best strategy will be.
Right. Oh,
Something putting out more Henry J?
that's what it looks like. Yep. Chicka, chicka, chicka. 8. Super senses roll. And a miss.
Is it Indigo 1, I believe? Getting there was attack there?
Was that Indigo 1? Oh.
On Indigo 1.
Indigo 1. Knock.
When a non-physically character gets this first takes 3 more damage after actions resolve that character has a heal this turn, you may place Sinestro adjacent to
Using the Sinestro power that lets him become adjacent to the other character. Alright.
Shift change?
Looks like we've got another attack. Shift change on Krona. See? No, it's Sinestro. That looks like a critical hit to me.
That does look like a miss by more than one.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oof. And not back off the building. Oh, okay.
That's fine.
That's Sinestro can fly anyway, so. No big.
He can. This one takes 3 or more damage.
I think Daniel's trying to see if one of the other Indigo Tribe members have that power active to heal Sinestro.
Looks like he's, yeah, that's what they're going to try to do. He's moving, yeah, and being healed by 1. I played a game against Steven, I believe.
Yeah.
When that came into play over and over and over again. It was very annoying. I mean, like, good for him, but it's really annoying on my
Yeah.
part.
Monk's leadership.
No, I hear that.
Monk's leadership.
No.
Miss again. The dice are not a fan of Daniel today.
And I lost my power where they have to defend.
I'm sorry, are you tapping out right now?
Am I tapping out? I don't know. Possibly. It's addictive. I'm sorry.
Friends don't let friends tap.
This is all Steven's fault.
Yes.
You got me into this game. You got me into Heroclix. The most addictive stuff in the world is what he gets me
So what you're
into.
saying is Steven is your gateway drug?
Steven, I wouldn't go that far now.
Jerry appreciated that you were.
I don't know if he listens to these recordings, but damn you.
One of our local players, Fojon.
What was that click for?
Pardon me?
What was that click for?
I wasn't clicking.
He was just checking.
Oh, just checking.
I didn't want to put my head over the map again.
That's fine. It wouldn't be as bad as one of the players during Worlds. I felt terrible because I pointed out his bald spot every time he went over.
It's because you're a bad person.
I'm a terrible person.
Is that leadership on the one?
And it's going to come back to haunt me. Yeah, karma. I'm just going to
It's close combat expert.
have hair one day, not the other next. Looks like he's counting out to see if he can hit Krona.
You can just ask them if they want to play.
And on the telephone, I asked why specified the tournament. Do you
It's changed a lot, and I'm not.
Just doing some double checking on powers. As we're coming down to the nit and the gritty of this point of the game, that our players are wanting to make sure that the plans work.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a lot of time left.
No, there's 10 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about 10 minutes, guys? Sidestep. I'm not sure what the cola machine is doing on that planet. Maybe Carol brought it with her one day. She wanted some cola.
Clearly, Soda believes in the power of love. That scene from Breaking Bad, where Walter's trying to explain why he should be the cook for the new character, and he's like, generic brand cola, original Coke. It's like, well, why don't I just kill you? Do you really want to live in a world that doesn't have Coca-Cola?
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, wait, you never watched?
I never watched Breaking Bad.
It's interesting. I have no interest in that story brand. Like, drug culture is of no interest to me, but the story was so well done and so well told and so well acted.
Yeah.
And the show, for people who have watched it, there is one episode. I could not stop laughing the entire episode. Everyone will know exactly what episode I'm talking about.
It's nice. It depresses me. I watched the first episode and I want it, and I just wanted to call into dope. So I decided maybe I don't want to watch this.
Oh, so this should be far enough that everyone should be caught up with the TV shows Arrow and Flash, so I can finally make my comment. I can't wait for the Diggle and Arsenal show to show up again. We were just talking about when it's going to come back because Gotham started this week. Started up again this week. But yeah, the Arsenal and Diggle show.
Oh, looks like they're going to do something. Will be an attack. And it is a huge hit, again, onto Indigo. That was a push on the part of the Swamp Thing. Oh, not on Indigo, I'm sorry, but on
John.
And Kona is taking an action token. Or something. I'm a great commenter.
So now you're doing all three.
Oh yeah, I'm doing all three. You guys are stuck with me for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, today is all Pat day.
Excellent.
All Pat all the time.
And I may actually get around to the story as to why I didn't play in the last tournament. Terry wants to be
Terry wants to be the commentary of when it occurs.
And leadership?
So I think that'll actually be saved for the final game.
One on attack, one on damage.
One attack on 1 damage for a Ghost Combat Expert. And I believe that is a
12 on 17.
12 on 13. Yeah.
12 plus 5, so for 3.
For 3 on Kyle. So Kyle may be biting the big one. Oh no, he has got a lift click, so... God, I hate those lift clicks with regen. Like, I killed you! Twice now!
I killed you again.
That's why I got a double tap.
All on attack.
Actually, I have seen a couple times where the live click comes up with knockback. So the initial attack kills, and the knockback
That happened...
it does the double tap for you.
That happened, I played a game over on Friday, and Duke took one against the wall.
Oh, that's right. I think I did that to you on Wednesday as well.
Possibly, yes.
That sounds familiar. I know I was using the Gravity Feed Daredevil from Deadpool against your dupe, and it was the incapacitate while dealing the damage.
Yeah, it was very good. The Duke could not end up defending with that.
10 to 18.
Yeah, we played what our favorite figure was, and so Duke made my top figures. 6 to 19, that is a miss. It's going to need 8 to be able to hit that. And that is just enough. Same team Procon on... No, on something.
Because Terry doesn't believe that he can do it again.
Oh, but he can.
But he can with knockback. There's double fours, right?
And
Yeah.
that was double force. 2.
And knockback.
And not back. 1, 2. Does the Swamp Thing fall off the building? No, he's still on top. Five minutes remaining. 5 minutes remaining. I'm like a darts announcer now.
Are you? Yeah, there you go.
27. I don't know if that's a number in darts. You watch darts? It's really boring. I'm sorry to all the British listeners. Irish.
You think our Venn diagram of viewers, of dart watchers, and Heroclix is probably small? Is that what you're saying?
Fairly small, I imagine, yeah. In the UK, yeah.
One on attack, one on damage.
Probably not a huge following from the UK. And 1 and 1. Oh.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that didn't hit.
No, I believe that bat is...
Yeah, so that was the
Two
dreaded
is a
push critical miss.
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing worse than that is having the critical miss take you off willpower and then take the push damage that you didn't think you were going to be taking.
I'd
So go
say-
from 0 to 2.
I'd say there's one worse than that, which is
The KO?
push. Yes, the KO. Push to die. Fantastic. Which I've been known to do.
Actually, a quick rules tidbit. I'm not going to go into the entire story because that would detract. But a lot of people forget that Earthbound takes away your combat symbols.
Yes.
So I've had a couple players where they've pushed to regen because they thought they had Indomitable at the time, and this happened with the figure number 1 Superman in the Superman set, where he's earthbound for his last 2 clicks and has regen. So a lot of people are, oh well, at least I'm in Dom, right?
Yeah.
And no, don't get any healing out of it at all. And then say, well, I don't take any clicks because in Dom, and then you politely have to point out to them, no, they actually killed their figure, and now you can pick it up and take it off the board.
Oh, against Indigo 1? Yeah. For the 19.
I rolled.
And I have a 19.
Missed by 1 for Terry. Shocking, really. First one of the game.
Yeah, someone else has been stealing all the missed by ones.
Yeah.
Not really giving Terry an opportunity. Although with less figures, you would imagine that he would have less missed by ones.
Pulse wave.
Pulse wave. Corona.
Corona pulse waving, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's 19. That's gonna hit everyone for 1.
One of the things to point out, because pulse waves have been coming up a lot, and a lot of players haven't don't always catch the small adjustments in the rules. That in the PAC, that pulse wave now does ignore hindering terrain. That it was always it's hindering. I'm not ignoring it. It's a different kind of modifier. But now there's no discussion on that anymore. It just ignores it.
It ignores everything.
Yeah.
2.
Except things that can't be ignored.
Yes.
Because when you're reading rules, that's what it is. Countered means outwit. Ignore means pulse wave.
Yeah.
For if you're trying to figure out why specific language is used or not used.
Alright, she's going to
Crick. Everything's cricking.
close combat expert. Both on damage.
Oh, here we go. So here's one of those big hits. So we need an 8 with the attack, but going everything on damage on the close combat expert.
Plus, I beat all of that.
7.
What's that?
Missed by 1.
Missed by 1.
Totally is.
Totes is.
Finished, I was.
We're coming up on the last minute, guys. Fellows. It looks.
Just telling Terry that because of the recording, we can muck around with the ending and the beginnings of the games. So we're going to allow Terry to have his last turn, and then we'll call it there. So we should see a bunch of haymakers being thrown out now.
Hail Marys. 1 onto Krona, so I believe that puts him onto his previous clicks now.
I'm not sure exactly which click he is on, but I'm fairly certain it puts him out of reach of being KO'd with a lift click.
Yeah. It's quintessence is right, so it's all he can outwit those things too.
That's right.
I don't see. So where is Kyle on the board? Is Kyle out?
Kyle should be off the board
Yeah,
at this
so
point.
Kyle's out, and there's a bat is out. So Terry's got to do some damage this turn.
It's weird because we can both see the map live and watch it on the camera, but the orientation is different. So every once in a while, I'll have to figure out why is that character there. Obviously, because we're not looking from the ceiling at the map. Although maybe we should put that in as a suggestion. 11Zs.
1, 2. How many points is that bat? 45?
The bat is 40.
40?
Only 40.
I believe that is the end.
That is going to be the end.
So Indigo
quick
takes it.
tallying up. So Indigo only lost 40. And it was the 2 kills on the White Lantern. So, yeah. So, not point-wise half, but we're able to kill half the characters on the board. So, I believe that I am going to be facing Terry now
You are.
in our next game. So, we are going to do our typical end of the broadcast now. So, it's easier to chop up to repost at other locations. So, we're going to take a small break, and then we will be back, and I will show you how to burn the White Lanterns.
See ya, folks.